What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-host, Colin Alcabes. Today, we're talking about Mika Zibanejad. The way that things have been going recently, kind of looks like he's going to end up staying in New York and remain a Ranger for the upcoming season. So we're going to talk about that and then just give our opinions on whether or not we would be trying to move him if we were in charge of the Rangers and what a trade might look like there. So we're going to get right onto that. But before we do, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, and be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But before we really get into it, Colin, how you doing today, buddy?
Good. It's been busy, but I'm good. I got my birthday coming up. I'm excited. Excited to do that. Little
Everyone, drop a happy birthday, Colin, down in the comment section below. I kind of forgot your birthday is in like 2 days.
Yes, sir. And then I'm always excited to talk about the Rangers. I'm excited to talk about Mika. I'm happy that he has, or at least his wife has come out and apparently set the record straight, despite all the reports that have been swirling around, that he is not going anywhere based on, all the information that we have. So yeah, I'm ready to jump right into it.
Yeah, well, you kind of gave a brief introduction to it, but you look on Twitter, you look on online, you see all these different reports, rumors, speculation going around the interwebs. And for a couple days there, it kind of looked like Zibanejad might have been on his way out. You were seeing reports saying that if Chris Kreider were to be traded, Zibanejad would be more likely to waive his no movement clause. Obviously, as we know, the Kreider trade did go through, so we were like, oh, maybe Zibanejad's going to waive it. Then we saw reports that were saying that the Rangers and Zibanejad had pretty much agreed that moving on would be in the best interest of both parties. So that really made it seem like we were going to see the end of Zibanejad in New York. But then the best source possible, his wife, Irma, comes out and she says basically, I don't know why all these people are saying all that. We just moved into our new house in New York and we just had newly hired head coach Mike Sullivan over the other day. So Irma set the record straight. She said pretty much Mika's not going anywhere. He doesn't want to go anywhere. And if we do see a trade go through, it's probably going to take a lot to get Zibanejad to waive that no movement clause. And it'd probably end up being a hairy situation, kind of like the Trouba situation we experienced last season. So, Irma, you cleared the air. I don't know what these reporters are saying, getting their information from, but I trust his wife. I think she knows what's going on, considering the fact that she's his wife. They have a child together and they live together. If anyone knows where Zibanejad's head is at, I believe it's going to be her. That's the second best source you can get besides the man speaking himself. So, as of right now, I mean, anything can change. Something can happen overnight, and Zibanejad just waives his no movement clause. They sell that house in New York. They never invite Sullivan over again, and then he's off to Anaheim to be reunited with his other partner, Christopher James Kreider. Who knows, But as of right now, as of Tuesday, June 17th at 5:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Zibanejad is not going anywhere. He's going to be a Ranger next season, but for the sake of the video and the sake of the discussion, so we don't have like a 1-minute video, let's make some actual content for the fans to enjoy. Let's just say, hypothetically, Chris Drury decides I'm done with Mika Zibanejad. If you're a part of the Rangers organization, Colin, are you trying to waive him or get rid of him, or are you happy that he's going to be sticking around?
I'm actually kind of happy that he's sticking around. I thought his play the second half of the year, once JT Miller came over, took a big step up. I like him kind of at the winger position, just because it takes a little bit of the pressure off of him. And I'm also kind of happy that he is not backing down from the criticism. I know he's received a lot of criticism, from myself included, these past couple of years. He definitely hasn't played up to the standard that we were used to him playing at, and he's still got 4 years left on this contract at $8.5 million. But I do like that he is trying to rise to the challenge and be the player that he was. I don't know. I something is encouraging about it. I think that he knows what he has to do now. Unfortunately, one of his best friends is gone. But now you don't have to worry about keeping them two together and stepping on it. They don't have to worry about stepping on any toes. Like, the coaches always kept them together no matter what. So now you don't have to worry about that. You could try different line combos. I thought the combination of him, Cooley, and Miller looked really good last year when they did eventually get broken up. I don't know. I think this is kind of a wake-up call for him now, seeing Kreider gone. He is the longest tenured Ranger. So this is the wake-up call that shit is changing. Like, shape up or out, and he's shaping up, or that's what he wants to do at least. And I applaud him for trying to rise to the challenge.
I agree. I would say if we were to look back to about the halfway point of last season, I might have been a part of the group that was pushing very heavily to see him be moved. But I think JT Miller is really what changed it up. Yeah, I think we've talked about in the past players coming in and changing the way people play. We said how in the past Artemi Panarin has elevated the play of he who shall not be named on this channel. Not enough to the point where we ended up keeping him, thank God. But, we've seen that effect before, and I think that's what we have seen with JT Miller. And we got JT Miller pretty early on in the season, a while before the deadline came. So it's not even like we have a small sample size to look at. We had nearly half the season to see the effect that JT Miller was having on that line, on the team as a whole, but specifically Zibanejad. Zibanejad went from being on pace to have one of his worst seasons ever to finishing the season off decently. And I think if the team as a whole can come back, have a bounce back season, and Mika Zibanejad were to play a full 82 games alongside JT Miller and whoever the other player on that line may be, hopefully it's Will Cooley still, I can see Zibanejad making great strides. I can see him reaching a 40-goal season for the first time in a while, hopefully breaking 80, 90 points. And that's really just because of that JT Miller effect. And we know he's going to be around for a while. So to me, I don't really see a reason for Zibanejad to be moved at this point in time. I'm also kind of happy that he's going to stay at this point. The only thing that is concerning is that Zibanejad's contract is only halfway over. We're on year 4 out of 8 by the time his contract expires. He's going to be 37 years old. The year is going to be 2030. It's a long ways away. So if you're sensing problems and you're going to want to get rid of him, it's probably better to get rid of him sooner rather than later. Because if he doesn't bounce back, imagine how that contract's going to look when he's 37 years old and he's just playing worse and worse and worse. So if you're a pessimist and you don't believe that the JT Miller effect is going to bring Mika back to his full potential, I get it. I'm not going to blame you if you want to see him be moved. But I'm an optimist at this current point in time. I don't know why I am. The Rangers have never given me a reason to be. But I somehow, some way, still have faith in this team and Mika Zibanejad, particularly JT Miller, to officially bring Mika fully out of the slump and get back. So I'm going to advocate that we don't trade for him, don't trade him away. And here's another reason why. Just looking, if the Rangers were to trade Mika, what would we be getting in return? I feel like we would need to guarantee we're getting another first-line center, or at least a top 6 center, I should say, at least, because look at the contracts that we have now. We just signed Shesterkin to this massive extension. We signed Lafreniere to a massive extension. We are in no position to be rebuilding right now. Sure, we're not a cup contender at this very point in time, but there needs to be a retool, not a rebuild. And if you get rid of Zibanejad, sure, you have Trocheck there as your centerman, but then it kind of falls off after that. We're not really working with a plethora of centers at the moment, and you kind of need a guy like Zibanejad on your second or even your third line to elevate you to be a cup contender. So unless you're getting a top 6 center in exchange for Zibanejad, I really don't see this trade being worth it unless you're going for a full rebuild, which, as I just said, wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense right now. So, and personally, I don't think we're going to get a center better than Zibanejad unless you package up a whole bunch of other pieces that I don't really want to see be moved. So that's just my whole take on it. I know I've been ranting for a while about Zibanejad and a potential comeback, what you'd be getting in return. It doesn't make sense to trade him to me, but I'll pass it off to you. I'm personally happy that he's going to be sticking around, but if you were to trade Mika, what would you do?
You wouldn't need to worry about getting a center back so much because you have JT Miller, who's playing center on the first line. So it's Miller and then Trocheck. And I don't want Zibanejad making $8.5 million in my 3C. So you're going to keep him on the wing, in my opinion. Also, JT Miller can play the wing if you really wanted him to, but I think he did a better job. So I guess it depends on what Mike Sullivan thinks. But a return probably wouldn't be great just because his contract is awful. It is truly bad. I mean, it is essentially what I read before. It's buyout proof. because of all of it's very bonus laden. It makes it very, 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 very hard to buy him out. So you're kind of stuck with it no matter what. So if you don't move it sooner versus later, you're stuck with it. I do think that he's going to continue to get better. He had 14 less points in a season where the whole team played bad, as opposed to, I mean, I know 72 and 82 wasn't exactly what everybody wanted from Zibanejad, but that's not a bad season from a player at all. It's nearly a point per game pace in a year where we won the President's Trophy. So if he can put up 14 less points in a season where we missed the playoffs than he did in a President's Trophy season, and that was with JT Miller coming in, I think he will only get better. His goals for was higher this year than it was in the prior year. I think there's a lot of positive signs, like his goals per 60 was higher and his points per 60 was also higher. So, there's a lot of positive signs trending towards the end of the season with him. So for me, obviously, I know like it is scary to think about we're only halfway through this contract, but I don't know. For some reason, I just think he's going to turn it around. I think he knows as an assistant captain and as a leader on this team that he's going to have to step it up, especially with Kreider gone. He's got a big hole to fill. So I know, like, I don't know. I just feel like he's got it figured out. Like he knows what he has to do. And this season, he's going to go out there and do it. And I think that he kind of not used Kreider as a crutch so much, but he knew that if his play was lacking, usually Kreider was there to pick it up. And that's not the case anymore. Now he's going to have to go out there and create his own offense. And JT Miller is kind of that net front presence grinder that Kreider was without all that speed, obviously. But I don't know. I think it'll just work out well. I'm not too worried. I'm happy that, like I said, he's not shying away from this challenge and not running from New York like a lot of other players who couldn't hack it have. We've seen him play at a very high level in New York, and I'm confident that he can get back there.
I am too. But we'll see what happens. It's only June. Zibanejad has a whole lot of time to prep himself, get ready, no matter where he's going to be playing. So we'll see what happens. But until then, hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But most importantly, have a good one. And
let's go Rangers.